An extraordinary and unprecedented achievement has recently taken place at the University of Oxford's Ashmolean Museum, one of the world's oldest university museums, where the doctoral thesis of a Korean contemporary artist has been permanently acquired. Presented as a 10-meter-long Hanji scroll, this remarkable work was created by Dr. Lee Jin-joon, an acclaimed media artist and professor at KAIST's Graduate School of Culture Technology. Today, we'll learn more about this unique project, its artistic significance, and Professor Lee's broader creative world. So please join me in welcoming him into the studio. Hello, Professor Lee.
Hello, Professor.
Hi, good to see you here.
Happy to have you on this show. So first and foremost, please introduce yourself a little bit to our viewers, and also tell us a bit about KAIST's Graduate School of Culture Technology, with a stress on culture.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Jinjoon Lee, the professor and artist in the Graduate School of the Culture and Technology in the KAIST. The KAIST, also I'm leading the KAIST Art and Technology Center now. When people think KAIST, they usually think about science and engineering school. But our Graduate School of the Culture and Technology is a little different. For the past 20 years, it has been a place where technology meets art, design, culture, and humanities. In that sense, it seems like the same spirit to the MIT Media Lab. In my own work, I often use AI, data, sound, and immersive media. I use them to ask how our senses and experiences are changing today. For me, technology is not just a tool, it is a medium that makes us ask again how we understand the world. I make artworks, but also I study the theory and history of technology. I'm especially interested in how we use AI and why critical thinking is becoming more important than before.
That is interesting. So, Professor Lee, let's talk about your work that I mentioned in the opening. It is a doctoral thesis,
Yep.
but you wrote it not in a conventional book, but a Hanji scroll. It's 10 meters long. So why did you use this format, and also why was it Hanji?
Well, yeah, my Oxford doctoral thesis was not made as just a normal book, as you mentioned. Its title is Empty Garden. The subtitle is Liminal Journey to Nowhere and Somewhere. It took the form of the 10 meters long scroll made on Hanji. Hanji is a traditional Korean paper. It is made from the inner bark of the mulberry tree. It is strong and can be last for a very long time, but it's also soft and delicate. I chose the scroll form because the thesis itself was about gardens, working, and space in between. And you cannot see a scroll all at once. You have to open it slowly, follow it, and spend time with it. I wanted reading the thesis to feel like walking through the garden. For me, Hanji was not just a material. It is deeply connected to East Asian history of writing, painting, recording, and preserving. What matters was that I used the last laser printer on Hanji, one of Korea's oldest media, met one of today's printing technologies on the same surface. I made 9 copies in this way. The process was slow and careful. I placed the text, images, drawings, and notes on the Hanji. I paid attention to the spaces between them, their scale, and small differences in position. I wanted one question to lead naturally to the next. In this way, the work became both a doctoral thesis and an artwork. This form was necessary because the thesis was not only about knowledge in the head, it was about something experienced through the body and through the time.
So could you maybe elaborate on also the content of this thesis? So what is it about? What's the core ideas of it?
Yeah, the core main theme of the thesis is a liminoid. It is an anthropological term. It means in-between state, a place that is somewhere and nowhere at the same time. I'm interested in places and experiences that cannot be fixed into one meaning. A garden is a good example. It is read, but it's also imagined. It looks like a nature, but it's carefully made by people. It looks quiet, but many senses and layers of time are moving inside it. In East Asian gardens, emptiness is not just an empty space, it is space left open. So imagination and the sense can move freely. Well, the title Empty Garden, A Limited Journey, Liminal Journey to Nowhere Somewhere, contains this idea. We can be somewhere and yet also feel as if we are nowhere. I connected this to media art because digital technology also creates space in between reality and virtuality, between body and image, between nature and the artificial.
Right, and having your work permanently purchased by the Ashmolean Museum is an exceptionally rare accomplishment, so congratulations. But what was your immediate reaction to this achievement?
Well, honestly, I was very surprised and deeply grateful. The Ashmolean is not an ordinary museum. It opens in 17th century. It is known as the world's first university museum and also as British first public museum. It was founded long before the British Museum or the Louvre in Paris. In that sense, it stands at the beginning of the Western museum tradition. When I heard that the Ashmolean had decided to purchase my doctoral thesis for its permanent collection, it felt very special. It felt as if a personal journey of research and art. It becomes from Korean, was quietly entering much larger public history of the Western knowledge. After the process was completed, the curator asked me how I felt. I said that one day my son, his son, and his son, and the later generation might come here, read this thesis, and understand what I saw, what I felt, and how far I tried to go.
That would be very touching to see. And could you explain how significant actually such an acquisition is and what it represents in both the art and academic world?
Exactly. I think this acquisition is very meaningful in several ways. And first, it shows that a doctoral thesis does not have to remain only an academic document. It can also become an artwork and a cultural object as well. This work brings together Korean tradition paper, East Asian garden thought, and contemporary media art within one form. When a work enters the museum collection, it enters a long-term system of the preservation, research, exhibition, and public access. It will be cared for, studied, shown, and shared with future audiences. So I do not see this only as just personal honor. I hope it can also help us think again about Korean art, research through practice, and the relationship between art and scholarship. People often talk about the Renaissance figure, but I feel closer to the East Asian artist-scholar tradition, literati, where art, technology, poetry, philosophy, and humanistic thought were not separate.
Right, and looking beyond your Hanji thesis, you have created a wide range of sculptural and artistic works as well. Are there any particular pieces that especially you're attached to or would like to introduce to our viewers at all?
Well, I have to talk about a more recent project, and I'd like to introduce two works that look very different, but actually share the same question in the age of AI. One is 9 Reincarnation series. It is a post-digital series about AI images, the body, place, and memory. I begin with images made with AI, then I printed them, cut them, make collage, scan them again, work on them digitally, print them onto the canvas, and then finally draw or paint my hand. The image moves again and again between the digital and the physical. So I call this process 9 reincarnations, because the image is not simply finished once, it dies, changes, and returns in another form. This is not a return to traditional painting. It is media work on a flat surface. I'm asking, what an image can remember in the age of AI? Can an image remember a body? Can it remember a place? can still carry time, touch, and memory. Recently, I also directed a large-scale media performance called Cine Forest, Awakening Bloom. It brought together projection, orchestra, chorus, AI voice, and public space. We mapped media across the 200-meter forest. The forest was not a background, it became a participant in the performance. There was a choir of around 1,000 local citizens with about 800 AI voice agents. The 70-member orchestra performed live at the same time. Rain, wind, even insect sound, a bird song, and machine sounds all became a part of the work. One question runs through all these works. How can technology do more than make us faster? How can it help us feel the world more deeply? For me, that is the most important question.
That is remarkable. And Professor Lee, what's also remarkable is your unique career path. I heard you were also a broadcast producer and you were also in business and fine art, of course. So did you have a turning point that led you to become an artist?
Yeah, I got many times I got these questions. At first, I studied business at the Seoul National University. After all, I worked in broadcasting. Then, against my parents' wishes, I returned to the fine art. Later, I studied media art at the Royal College of Art in London and completed my doctorate in the philosophy of the fine art at the University of Oxford. In the end, I realized that everything comes back to philosophy. Looking back, the biggest turning point was the moment I realized that art could hold these all different things experienced together. Business gave me an eye of the system. Broadcasting made me think about imagery, current time, and audiences. Fine art gave me a language to turn those experiences into deeper questions. So I did not become an artist by abandoning my past. I become an artist by carrying all of this with me.
Professor Lee, we have time for just one more question, unfortunately. Do you have a final message to aspiring artists and researchers, or do you want to mention one upcoming project?
Yeah, please do not use technology just because it's new. The real question is why we use technology and what kind of human experience it creates. Technology is powerful, but art and research also need to protect slowness, memory, care, and imagination. The better technology is, more quietly it should disappear. Then art can appear. Otherwise, it becomes only a technology demonstration. So there is one thing I'd like to say to young artists and researchers. Please study deeply, but while you study, please also listen to your own body, the place where you stand, and your own culture. In the age of AI, the most important question is not only what machine can do, the real question is this: what kind of human beings do we want to become? So we need a courage to stop sometimes, stop, breathe, and stay where you are.
Very philosophical, and thank you very much, Professor Lee, for sharing your story with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me again. Thank you.
And thank you, Walter, as always. We're going to have you back here tomorrow.
See you very soon.